Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Tahir Dhindsa and you're watching SDTV. China is very often criticized by the West for providing loans that are not sustainable. Also, they are criticized that they create pollution which would contribute to the changing climate and rather it fastens up. Now the President Xi has said that now they are announcing green CPEC initiative, greening the CPEC and the greening BRI as well. And through this would be a development initiative that will provide finance and it will compensate for the $100 billion which was pledged and that was not provided, and that will fasten up the speed of development overall, and that is going to contribute to the well-being and in contribute in achieving the sustainable development goals. We have today with us Mustafa Hayder Syed, who is the executive director Park China Institute and CEO of Climate Action Task Force. Mustafa, very warm welcome.
Thank you for
What,
having me.
what do you say about it?
Firstly, all the developing countries, the global south, are undertaking their journey of development as it is their right. And in the West, all the countries that have undertaken this development earlier on, at an earlier stage, did use fossil fuel projects and fossil fuel, including but not limited to coal. So I think that it is not a reasonable ask for asking the developing countries like Pakistan and other countries in the global south to instantly and expect them to instantly switch to green and renewable projects. Of course, that transition is very, very critical, and it's a process. And that process needs to start, and it needs to be expedited, and it needs to be assisted by countries which have more experience in it. But no country can instantly switch to green projects. It's not practically possible for those countries, number one. Number two, this criticism that China has faced has been particularly from countries that have themselves been very large emitters and contributors to increasing the carbon footprint of the world. So I think we have to look at this discourse in a wider context. You can't single out developing countries. When you talk about it, it has to be an approach which is inclusive and which is solution-oriented. Now, coming to the Third Belt and Road Forum, which I had the privilege of attending, the big announcement, one of the key takeaways from this was that President Xi has allocated and dedicated $100 billion for green projects and finding projects which require green finance. And those $100 billion have been given to the China Development Bank, China Exim Bank, and also the Silk Road Fund. So this $100 billion can be a very big opportunity for the global south and help them in that transition and process to green their energy infrastructure. If you look at Pakistan, and I always say when we talk about green energy, before talking about green energy and renewable investments, we have to talk about the prerequisite to absorb that green investment and renewable energy projects is smart grids, Tahir Sir. Because our grid infrastructure, as you know, is outdated. But we keep on talking about brand new projects. So what happens is that these new projects are injected in our power infrastructure, but our grid is unable to evacuate the power. So sometimes when we still have power outages, it's not because we have an energy shortfall. It's because our grid system, grid infrastructure is so outdated from the British era And it is not at par with the new power plants that we've put in CPEC. So the prerequisite, if we want to go green in terms of energy, is firstly smart grid infrastructure, investing in that through public-private partnerships. And I think Pakistan is very well positioned to gain momentum and an opportunity from the $100 billion pledge that China has given, particularly for Belt and Road countries. And that's why I think President Xi Jinping chose the opportunity to announce this at no other forum but the Belt and Road Forum that was taken place on the 18th of October of this year.
So what you're saying basically is that the China is going to provide funding to do the footwork to move towards the greening of the CPEC and the Belt and Road Initiative. Mostly all those projects which was built under that. But do you think there's an opportunity that organically there is some system that can be developed where the CPEC project and the BRI can become greener?
Tahir Sahab, Pakistan Chan Institute about 2.5 years ago, and SDPI is a partner with us in this, took an initiative called the Greening CPEC Initiative. And
Right.
Fudan University of China is also part of it, Mr. Christoph Neruffer.
Right.
And this initiative is actually of identifying steps of how the China-Pakistan economic corridor post-2023, in this next 10 years of CPEC, as we've completed the first 10 years, can go green, can be more carbon neutral, can have a lower carbon footprint. And for that, we are working along with the Chinese investors like China Three Gorges Corporation, the National Energy Agency of China, the Ministry of Energy of Pakistan, the Alternate Energy Development Board in Pakistan, and the Chinese Embassy as well, to see and to implement how we can do that and develop a criteria that gives a scorecard to investments from China into Pakistan that are very green, green, not green. So we are developing that criteria as well. And as far as China's pledge of $100 billion is concerned, with that pledge is an announcement that China will no longer undertake fossil fuel projects. So China is no longer building coal-fired projects in the world now. That is not happening.
Right.
However, in Pakistan, Tahir Sahab, I feel that we have a lot of rhetoric of green energy, of climate change, but in practical steps, we need to up our game. I'll give you one example, which I actually spoke about in the NDU conference this morning. One of the key things that China has done is it has released a panda bond. It's a green financial product. And they have a green bond market, which is very successful. The State Bank of Pakistan needs to work together with Chinese financial institutions and approve this panda bond in Pakistan, green and green bonds, particularly the panda bond, because it's being highly promoted. It's a green financial product. So people can invest, and then we can get Chinese investors to invest in these bonds in Pakistan and in different projects. So our regulatory regime, whether it be the State Bank, whether it's NEPRA, also needs to become acclimatized to this. If I keep on talking about it, or if SDPI keeps on talking about this, or if the Ministry of Climate Change keeps on talking about it, nothing will happen. We have to implement this. And as you're interviewing me, the COP28 is happening right now in the UAE. And the main issue is that it's an existential crisis. The temperature of the earth is rising so fast that the next generations of human civilization may not be able to tolerate the temperature because it's going to get so hot. They might get wiped out. This is a real concern. So we need to make sure that developing countries, which are at the receiving end of climate change and which are very small contributors, we contribute point something percent to the carbon footprint of the world, but we are the 7th most affected. So countries like Pakistan and also countries in Africa, actually, West Africa is the most affected by climate change in the world, have to get not only, we don't only need money, but we need to be walked through the process of greening infrastructure and energy. And that money has to be allocated for giving us the base for greening. And the
Right.
base, what is the base? It includes grids. It includes expertise in decision making and how to move forward, and also includes uh, what they call teaching the teachers,
Right.
training regulators and policymakers in this.
Right.
Yeah.
Mustafa, thank you very much for sparing time on that. We have seen three things. He has just shared three things with us. Initiative is there, and $100 billion are there, and Pakistan can very much use it. But we need three things. There are three prerequisites for that. One, that we need to upgrade our physical infrastructure, grids, and other things for that to get to be benefited from that. Second, we need more experts who help Pakistan in this tradition in transition. And third, last but not the least, we need legal infrastructure to move forward through which the regulator NEPRA can regulate and our import regimes and everything. So homework needs to be done, but the money is there. CPEC can be more greener now. With this news, we come to the end of the program. Next time, next topic, and we'll keep on series of this podcast. Later on for you, we'll invite other guests on the same topic. So please keep watching our television. Goodbye.